The Arizona night sky erupted with an unusual meteor shower, streams of light cascading across the darkness with unnatural precision. Dr. Maya Collins stood outside her remote research facility, coffee forgotten in her hand as she watched the largest object break formation and veer directly toward the nearby mountains. "That's no meteor," she whispered, grabbing her keys and emergency kit. At 34, Maya had spent the last decade developing experimental defense systems that everyone said were too advanced for their time. Tonight, those systems had been going haywire. The impact site was still smoldering when Maya arrived, her four-wheel drive struggling over the rough terrain. What she found wasn't a smoking crater, but rather a sleek vessel half buried in the desert soil. Its metallic surface gleamed with an iridescent blue that seemed to pulse rhythmically despite the damage. Maya approached cautiously, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. "Hello?" she called out, feeling somewhat foolish. "Is anyone?" A panel slid open with a hydraulic hiss, causing Maya to stumble backward. A figure emerged, humanoid but distinctly alien. Tall and slender with opalescent skin that reflected the moonlight, she had features that were hauntingly beautiful yet unsettlingly not quite human. Her eyes were large and almond-shaped, glowing softly with an amber light. Silver blue hair floated around her head as if suspended in water. "Help!" the alien woman gasped, her voice melodic yet strained. She collapsed forward, and Maya instinctively rushed to catch her. The alien was surprisingly light in her arms, her skin cool to the touch. "You speak English?" Maya asked, amazed. Universal translator, the woman touched a small device at her throat. Damaged, like everything else. Her amber eyes fluttered, focusing on Maya with intense concentration. "I am Princess Elara of the Caridian Star Empire. My world is under attack, and yours will be next." Maya helped Elara to sit against a boulder, her mind racing between scientific fascination and utter disbelief. "What attacked you? Why are you here?" "The Dracorians," Elara winced as she adjusted her position, revealing a gash along her side that seeped silvery fluid. "They've targeted worlds with quantum technology. My ship detected your research facility's energy signature. You're closer to breakthrough than you realize, Dr. Collins." "How do you know my name?" Maya asked, applying pressure to Elara's wound with a cloth from her kit. "We've been monitoring Earth's scientific progress," Elara admitted. "Your work on quantum shield harmonics, it mirrors our own defensive systems the Dracorians have now compromised." She grabbed Maya's wrist with surprising strength. "I need your help to refine technology that can save both our worlds." Maya's skepticism battled with the evidence before her eyes. "Why should I trust you?" Elara reached into her damaged suit and withdrew a small crystalline device. When activated, it projected a three-dimensional image of massive warships decimating a beautiful ringed planet. This was Altara Prime, 3 cycles ago. 17 billion souls, extinguished. The hologram shifted to show a star map, with a clear trajectory marked toward Earth. "You have perhaps 20 of your days before their scout ships arrive." Maya sat back on her heels, mind racing. Everything she thought she knew about humanity's place in the universe was crumbling, yet her scientific mind was already cataloging, analyzing, planning. "We need to hide your ship," she finally said. "And treat your wounds properly." Relief flooded Elara's features. "Then you believe me?" "I believe something is coming," Maya replied cautiously. "And I believe in covering all possibilities." She helped the alien princess to her feet. "I have colleagues, trustworthy people with skills we'll need." Elara nodded weakly. "Choose carefully, Dr. Collins. The fate of 2 worlds may depend on it." As they made their way to Maya's vehicle, the damaged ship behind them hummed softly and began a self-camouflage protocol, its surface shifting to match the surrounding rocks. The night sky above them sparkled innocently, giving no hint of the approaching storm. Maya glanced at her extraterrestrial passenger, noting how the moonlight caught the delicate spiraling patterns on her skin. Science had prepared her mind for the possibility of alien life, but nothing had prepared her heart for the immediate and inexplicable connection she felt to this otherworldly visitor. "Thank you," Elara whispered, her amber eyes holding Maya's gaze. "Hope has been in short supply lately." Maya nodded, starting the engine. "Let's see if we can change that." The basement laboratory of Maya's research facility hummed with activity as Professor James Rivera paced between workstations, his weathered hands gesturing animatedly as he argued with Dominic Osei. "The power conversion ratios are impossible," James insisted, running fingers through his salt and pepper hair. "We can't interface Earth technology with whatever this is." Dominic, a broad-shouldered aerospace engineer with keen eyes and methodical precision, shook his head. "That's because you're thinking in terms of silicon conductivity. This crystal matrix operates on principles we haven't even theorized yet." Across the room, Princess Elara sat on an examination table as Maya carefully removed the temporary bandage from her side. The silvery fluid had stopped seeping, and the wound was already showing signs of healing. "Your cellular regeneration is remarkable," Maya murmured, her scientific curiosity temporarily overriding her awareness of how close she was standing to the alien princess. "At this rate, you'll be fully healed within days." "Caridian physiology evolved under binary suns," Elara explained, her amber eyes following Maya's movements. "Rapid healing was necessary for survival." She winced slightly as Maya applied a fresh dressing. "Though pain remains universal, it seems." Maya's fingers lingered perhaps a moment longer than necessary. "Sorry. I'm trying to be gentle." Their eyes met briefly before a loud crash from across the room broke the moment. Astrid Nakamura, a cybersecurity specialist with a genius IQ and chronic insomnia, had dropped a component. "Sorry. But I think I've mapped the basic architecture of the ship's communication array." Her fingers flew across her keyboard, translating alien schematics. "If we can boost the quantum entanglement signal, we might be able to contact any remaining Caridian resistance." Elara slid from the table, adjusting her borrowed Earth clothes, a simple t-shirt and jeans that somehow looked regal on her tall, slender frame. "The royal transponder codes change with each lunar cycle. Without current codes, any transmission could alert the Dracorians to our location." "Then we focus on the ship first," Maya decided, conscious of how naturally leadership had transferred between her and Elara. "Dom, what's your assessment?" Dominic looked up from the alien metal he'd been analyzing. "The hull integrity is compromised in 3 sections, but the propulsion system is intact. With some creative engineering and materials from your quantum shield project." He glanced at Maya apologetically. "We might get it space-worthy." "Use whatever you need," Maya said without hesitation. 5 days ago, her life's work had been theoretical shields for military applications. Now, it seemed insignificant compared to what Elara had shown them. James cleared his throat. "I still have questions. Many questions." The tactical expert's skepticism hadn't fully abated. "How do we know the Dracorians even exist? That this isn't some elaborate—" "Professor Rivera," Elara interrupted softly, approaching him with quiet dignity. "I understand your doubts. In your position, I would share them." She extended her hand, palm up, revealing a small holographic projector embedded in her wrist. "These are my credentials." The air above her palm shimmered, revealing images of Elara in ceremonial regalia, addressing what appeared to be a vast congress of diverse alien species. The recording continued, showing the brutal Dracorian attack on her ship, the desperate escape. James stared, his academic skepticism crumbling before irrefutable evidence. "I apologize, Your Highness." "Elara, please," she corrected gently. "Titles mean little when worlds are burning." That night, after the others had retired to makeshift sleeping quarters, Maya found Alara on the facility's roof, staring at the stars. The alien princess had wrapped herself in a blanket against the desert chill, her silver-blue hair luminescent under the moonlight. "Different constellations," Alara said without turning. "Your star charts call my home the Lyra constellation, though Caridia itself is too distant for your telescopes." Maya settled beside her, offering a steaming mug. "I thought you might like tea. It's a human comfort." Alara accepted it with a grateful smile. "We have something similar on Caridia. Sarm leaf, steeped in hot spring water." She took a careful sip. "This is more bitter, but pleasant." They sat in companionable silence for a moment before Maya spoke. "We'll get you home." "And if we succeed, what then?" Alara asked softly. "My people know nothing of Earth. Your people know nothing of us. Yet our futures are now intertwined." Maya considered this. New beginnings are rarely tidy. But they're often worth the chaos. Something in her tone made Alara turn, studying Maya's profile in the moonlight. "On Caridia, we believe connections between souls transcend planetary boundaries. Perhaps this meeting was written in the stars long before either of us drew breath." Maya felt her cheeks warm under Alara's gaze. "That's a romantic notion for a physicist to accept." "Is it?" Alara's hand found Maya's between them, her touch cool but not cold. "Your quantum theories already recognize that particles once connected remain so, regardless of distance." Before Maya could respond, the facility's alarm system blared to life. They jumped to their feet as Astrid burst onto the roof. "Government vehicles," she gasped. "At least 5, coming fast." Someone talked. Maya's mind raced. "We need to move Alara's ship. Now." As they rushed inside to alert the others, Alara caught Maya's arm. "If we're separated." "We won't be," Maya said with more conviction than she felt. Their eyes held for a heartbeat before they descended into the chaos below, the first test of their fragile alliance already upon them. The abandoned mining facility 20 miles from Maya's research center provided temporary sanctuary. Its cavernous interior echoed with the sounds of urgent work as Dominic and James reinforced the damaged sections of Alara's ship with materials salvaged during their hasty escape. Maya watched Alara moving among her human allies, offering guidance with quiet authority despite her still healing injuries. The princess had adapted remarkably to Earth, yet retained an otherworldly grace that Maya found increasingly distracting. "The quantum harmonizer is calibrated," Astrid announced, emerging from beneath a console. Her fingers were stained with grease and what appeared to be the silvery fluid that served as Alara's ship's coolant. "But the navigation matrix is still scrambled. Without proper coordinates, we could end up anywhere in the galaxy." "Let me," Alara offered, sliding into the pilot's seat. Her fingers danced across symbols that rearranged themselves at her touch. Caridian navigation systems are genetically keyed to the royal bloodline. A security measure that now serves us well. Maya approached, fascinated by the interface. "The system recognizes your DNA?" "More than that," Alara explained, not looking up from her work. "It reads bioelectric patterns unique to my neural pathways. Each member of the royal house has distinct access and capabilities." A low whistle sounded from behind them. "No wonder the Dracorians want you specifically," Dominic observed. "With you captured, they'd have control of Caridia's entire defense grid." The realization hung heavy in the air. Alara was not just a princess seeking help, she was a living key to her world's most powerful systems. Later, as the others slept in shifts, Maya found herself working alongside Alara in comfortable silence. The princess had shown an intuitive understanding of Earth physics that accelerated their work considerably. "Your species adapts quickly," Alara remarked, studying a modification Maya had made to the ship's shield generators. "It's remarkable," says the woman who learned English in less than a week, Maya countered with a smile. Elara laughed softly, a melodic sound that Maya had heard too rarely. The translator helps, but yes, languages come easily to me. She paused, her expression growing serious. Maya, there's something I haven't told you about Caridian physiology. Maya set down her tools, giving Elara her full attention. What is it? We form connections. Psychic bonds, you might call them. Empathic links with those we. Elara hesitated, searching for the word, with those we resonate with. And you're forming this connection with someone here? Maya asked, suddenly very interested in the circuit board before her. I believe I am, Elara confirmed quietly. With you. Maya looked up, finding Elara's amber eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her breath catch. What does that mean, exactly? It means I sense your emotions. Your concerns. Your. Elara's voice lowered, desires. The air between them seemed to vibrate with unspoken tension. Maya became acutely aware of how close they were standing, of the faint luminescence of Elara's skin in the dim light. And what do you sense now? Maya whispered. Elara moved closer, one hand rising to trace the contour of Maya's face with ethereal gentleness. Conflict. Curiosity. And something warmer. Maya's response was lost in the sudden blare of proximity alarms. Both women startled as emergency lights bathed the cavern in pulsing red. Perimeter breach. James shouted from the makeshift security station. Multiple heat signatures approaching from the south and trance. The team gathered quickly, weapons and tools in hand. Government forces? Maya asked, grabbing the prototype shield generator she'd been modifying. Astrid's face was unnaturally pale as she scanned the security feed. No, she said, voice barely audible. Special operatives. Blackwater-type contractors. She swallowed hard. They're here for Elara. Maya turned to her slowly. How do you know that? Before Astrid could answer, Dominic made a grim discovery. The emergency transmitter has been activated. Recently. He looked up, eyes narrowing. Someone signaled our location. All eyes turned to Astrid, whose hands had begun to tremble. I had no choice, she whispered. They have my brother. They said they just wanted to talk to Elara, to negotiate technology sharing. You fool, James hissed. These people don't negotiate. Elara stepped forward with surprising composure. How long have you been reporting to them? Since the beginning, Astrid admitted, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry. They said no one would be hurt. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the tunnels. Maya made a split-second decision. Dominic, James, finish the ship prep. We launch in 10 minutes, ready or not. She turned to Astrid. You're staying here. You'll tell them we forced you to help us and then escaped. Maya, Astrid began. Don't, Maya cut her off. You've done enough. As the team scattered to their final preparations, an explosion rocked the southern entrance. Armed figures appeared through the smoke, moving with military precision. They're coming too fast. Dominic shouted from the ship. We need more time. Elara made a decision, pulling a small device from her belt. Get aboard. I'll hold them off. Not alone you won't, Maya insisted, activating her prototype shield generator. A shimmering blue field expanded between them and the approaching forces. The first shots fired by the intruders dissipated against the shield, but Maya could see the power levels dropping rapidly. They wouldn't hold long. Elara pressed a sequence on her device, and a focused sonic wave erupted, collapsing part of the tunnel behind them as they retreated toward the ship. One of the operatives broke through, weapon raised. Without hesitation, Elara stepped in front of Maya, taking a glancing hit to her shoulder that sprayed silvery fluid across the rocks. Maya fired back with a repurposed mining tool, disabling their attacker. "You're hit." "Superficial," Elara gasped as they stumbled up the ship's ramp. "Go." The engines were already humming as the hatch sealed behind them. James had taken the co-pilot's seat, his tactical experience proving valuable as more hostiles converged on the ship. "Hold tight," Dominic called from the engineering station. "This launch isn't going to be pretty." The ship shuddered violently as it rose, breaking through the cavern ceiling in a shower of rock and dust. Bullets pinged harmlessly against the hull as they climbed higher, the Nevada desert falling away beneath them. In the relative safety of the ascent, Maya attended to Elara's wound. The princess winced as Maya applied pressure to stop the bleeding. "You took a bullet for me," Maya said softly. Elara's amber eyes met hers. "I told you. We've formed a connection." Without warning, Maya leaned forward and pressed her lips to Elara's. The kiss was brief but electric, both women pulling back in surprise at its intensity. "That was..." Maya began. "A very human response to danger," Elara finished with a small smile. "One I find I quite appreciate." Around them, the damaged ship rattled alarmingly as it broke atmosphere, carrying its unlikely crew toward the stars and the distant world that awaited their aid. The vastness of space stretched before them, a canvas of infinite darkness punctuated by the brilliant light of distant stars. Inside Elara's ship, now christened Defiance by the crew, Maya floated in the zero-gravity chamber, making adjustments to the shield harmonizer. The device, a hybrid of Caridian crystal technology and Earth-based quantum theory, represented their best hope against the Dracorian weapons. "Your adaptation to space travel is impressive," Elara observed from the doorway. Her shoulder wound had nearly healed, leaving only a faint silvery line against her opalescent skin. "Most humans experience severe disorientation in zero-G." Maya smiled, pushing herself toward the princess with a gentle push against the wall. "I've always been a quick study. Besides, it helps that your artificial gravity keeps failing." She gestured to the flickering gravity generators. Though Dominic might disagree. As if summoned by his name, Dominic's voice crackled over the comm system, punctuated by the sound of retching. "For the record, I hate space. Give me solid ground and Earth's predictable gravity any day." James chuckled from his position at the navigation console. "3 more days, Dom, try to keep your stomach contents internal until then." 3 days. Maya could hardly believe they'd already been traveling for 2 weeks. The journey had been fraught with challenges, systems failing, emergency repairs, and near-constant recalibrations to keep them on course. Yet in those quiet moments between crises, something profound had developed between the crew members, a bond forged through shared purpose and danger. And between Maya and Elara, something deeper still. "I've been meaning to ask," Maya said, floating close enough to Elara that their faces were mere inches apart. "About this connection between us. How does it manifest for you?" Elara's amber eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. "I feel your emotions as echoes within myself. Your determination, your curiosity." She reached out, her cool fingers tracing Maya's jawline. "Your attraction." Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks. "And can you control it? Block it if you wanted?" "I could," Elara admitted. "But I find I have no desire to." The moment hung between them, electric with possibility, until a violent shudder rocked the ship, sending them both tumbling against the wall. "Proximity alert!" James shouted over the comm, "We've got company." They rushed to the bridge, where the view screen showed a sleek, predatory-looking vessel pacing them. Its hull was black as obsidian, absorbing rather than reflecting light, making it seem like a moving void against the stars. "Dracorian scout ship," Elara confirmed grimly. "They shouldn't be this far out from Caridia. Have they spotted us?" Maya asked, strapping into her seat as Dominic initiated evasive maneuvers. Unclear, James replied, studying the sensor readings. Our signature is masked, but they're on an intercept course. For tense minutes, they held their breath as Dominic guided the ship into the shadow of a large asteroid, powering down all non-essential systems. The Dracorian vessel paused, scanning, before continuing its patrol route and eventually jumping to hyperspace. That was too close, Maya exhaled. And a bad sign. If they're expanding their patrol range, Caridia may already be under siege, Elara finished, her voice tight with concern. We need to accelerate our timeline. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Sleep became a luxury as they finalized their plans and weapons. Maya and Elara worked in perfect synchrony, their connection deepening as they shared knowledge and adapted each other's ideas into practical solutions. On the final night before their arrival at Caridia, Maya found herself unable to sleep. She wandered to the observation deck, where the transparent ceiling offered an unobstructed view of the cosmos. To her surprise, Elara was already there, sitting cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed in meditation. I didn't mean to disturb you, Maya said softly, turning to leave. Stay, Elara opened her eyes, extending a hand. Please. Maya settled beside her, and they sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars streak by as the ship hurtled through space. Tomorrow, everything changes, Elara finally said. Whatever we find at Caridia, we'll face it together, Maya assured her, covering Elara's hand with her own. Elara turned to her, eyes reflecting the starlight. My people have a tradition before battle. A way to center ourselves, to find peace amid chaos. She hesitated. I would share it with you, if you're willing. Maya nodded, and Elara guided her to stand. They faced each other, palms pressed together, foreheads touching. Elara began a soft chant in her native language, the words flowing like water, melodic and ancient. As she spoke, Maya felt a warmth spreading from their connected hands, up her arms, and throughout her body. What is this? She whispered, amazed by the sensation. Soul resonance, Elara murmured. The deepening of our connection. Their lips met in a kiss that felt inevitable, as natural as gravity. Maya's hands found the small of Elara's back, drawing her closer as the princess tangled her fingers in Maya's hair. The connection between them intensified, a current of emotion and desire that transcended the physical. Later, lying together beneath the stars, their bodies intertwined, Maya traced the spiraling patterns on Elara's skin that glowed faintly in the darkness. They tell our history, Elara explained, guiding Maya's fingers along a particular spiral. This one signifies protection. And this, she moved Maya's hand to a pattern over her heart, represents eternal connection. It's beautiful, Maya said, resting her head on Elara's shoulder. Your whole culture, your biology, it's so advanced, so different, yet fundamentally similar to ours in the ways that matter. Perhaps that's why the universe brought us together, Elara suggested, her voice soft with newfound vulnerability. Two worlds, separate but complementary. The ship's alert system interrupted their moment, signaling their approach to Caridian space. Reality crashed back as they dressed quickly and joined the others on the bridge. The scene that greeted them through the viewscreen stole Maya's breath. Caridia hung in space like a jewel, its surface a swirl of deep blues and emerald greens, ringed by two luminous moons. But marring this beauty was the unmistakable evidence of war. Orbital defense stations lay in ruins, debris fields scattered across near space, and the ominous shapes of Dracorian warships hovering in strategic positions around the planet. We're too late, James said quietly. They've established full orbital control. Elara's face had gone pale, but her voice remained steady. Not too late. Just in time. She pointed to a small gap in the Dracorian formation. There's our entry point. If we can slip through their sensor net, there's an ancient royal bunker in the northern mountain range where resistance forces would gather. Dominic took a deep breath. No pressure, then. Just threading a needle while invisible. The descent was harrowing. Twice they nearly collided with debris, and once a Dracorian patrol passed so close they could see individual weapon emplacements on its hull. But Dominic's piloting skills proved exceptional, guiding them through the atmosphere in a controlled burn that mimicked falling debris. They landed in a secluded valley, the ship's camouflage systems immediately rendering it nearly invisible against the lush Caridian landscape. As the hatch opened, Maya inhaled her first breath of alien air, sweet and oxygen-rich, with undertones of unfamiliar spices. "Welcome to Caridia," Elara said, stepping onto her homeworld for the first time in weeks. "Now comes the hard part." The journey to the bunker took them through dense forests where plants responded to their presence, sometimes parting to create paths, other times closing defensively behind them. The wildlife was sparse, a bad sign, Elara explained. Caridian fauna was typically abundant and curious. They had traveled for hours when the attack came, a Dracorian patrol, heavily armed and clearly searching for something specific. The first energy blast struck a tree near James, reducing it to ash instantly. "Scatter," Elara commanded, activating a personal shield device. The bunker entrance is 2 kilometers northeast. In the chaos that followed, Maya lost sight of the others. She activated her prototype shield and returned fire with the modified energy weapon Elara had helped her build. A Dracorian soldier fell, then another, but they kept coming, their reptilian features contorted in determination beneath their helmets. Maya ducked behind a massive tree root, her shield flickering as its power depleted. A shadow fell over her, and she looked up to see a Dracorian soldier, weapon aimed at her heart. The royal bunker thrummed with activity as Caridian resistance fighters moved with purpose through its crystalline corridors. After their arrival the previous day, Elara had quickly established contact with the remaining leaders of her people. The reunion had been emotional but brief, there was no time for extended ceremonies when survival hung in the balance. Maya stood before a holographic display of the planet's defense grid, James at her side. His tactical expertise had earned immediate respect from the Caridian military commanders. "The Dracorians have control of the orbital platforms and the main defense nexus in the capital," General Thorne explained. The Caridian officer's skin had a deeper blue tint than Elara's, with more pronounced luminescent patterns that Maya now understood signified military rank. But they cannot access the ancient systems without royal authentication. Which is why they want Elara, Maya concluded. Without her, they can occupy but not fully control. Precisely, Elara confirmed, entering the chamber dressed in formal Caridian battle attire, a close-fitting suit of material that seemed to flow like liquid metal yet hardened upon impact. A circlet of silver adorned her brow, marking her royal status. "And they grow impatient. They've begun systematic destruction of cultural centers, hoping to force my surrender." James studied the display. "What about this secondary facility?" He pointed to a structure nestled within a mountain range. "According to these schematics, it has independent power and a direct link to the planetary shield generators." General Thorne exchanged glances with Elara. "The Ancestor Vault. It houses our oldest technology, from before the Great Migration. Few know how to operate those systems." "I do," Elara said quietly. "My mother ensured I was trained in the ancient ways, against the advice of her counselors." A sad smile crossed her face. "She always said preparation was the best defense against an uncertain future." "Then that's our target," Maya decided. "James and I can modify our quantum harmonizer to interface with your shield technology. If we can activate the planetary shield from the vault, we can disrupt the Dracorian fleet's communication systems." Elara nodded. "A small team would have the best chance of reaching it undetected. The mountains are riddled with passages known only to the royal family." As preparations were finalized, Maya found herself alone with Elara in a small antechamber. The princess, no, the Queen now, Maya reminded herself, since Elara had confirmed her mother's death in the initial invasion, stood before a memory wall, her fingers tracing the illuminated patterns that represented her family lineage. "You don't have to do this," Elara said without turning. "This isn't your fight. You've already lost Dominic." Maya approached, standing beside her. "This became my fight the moment you crashed in the Arizona desert." She took Elara's hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. "And it became personal the moment I fell in love with you." Elara's amber eyes widened at the declaration, though their connection had surely revealed Maya's feelings already. "Love is a complex concept across cultures," she said carefully. "But universal in its essentials," Maya countered. "At least for us." Elara stepped closer, pressing her forehead against Maya's in the Caridian gesture of intimacy they'd shared on the ship. "When this is over. One problem at a time," Maya whispered, sealing the unfinished thought with a kiss that conveyed everything words could not. Dawn broke over the Caridian mountains in a spectacular display of dual sunlight, one sun golden, the other with a bluish tinge that cast the landscape in ethereal hues. The team moved swiftly through the hidden passages, Elara leading with unerring confidence despite not having traversed these routes since childhood. Their small group consisted of Maya, James, Elara, General Thorne, and 2 Caridian specialists. Each carried equipment essential to their mission, with Maya and James sharing the burden of the modified quantum harmonizer. "The Dracorians have patrols in this sector," General Thorne warned as they approached a narrow ravine. "Their sensors can detect Caridian life signs, but they're still calibrating for human biology. You two may be our secret advantage." The general's assessment proved accurate when they encountered their first patrol. The Dracorian soldiers, tall, heavily armored beings with distinctly reptilian features, detected the Caridians immediately but seemed confused by the human presence. That moment of hesitation gave James the opening to deploy a sonic disruptor, incapacitating the patrol without alerting others. "Their neural structure is sensitive to specific frequencies," Elara explained as they secured the unconscious enemies. "A discovery we made too late in the initial invasion." By midday, they reached the concealed entrance to the Ancestor Vault. The massive door, seemingly part of the mountainside itself, responded to Elara's touch, a genetic recognition system that had remained operational for centuries. The interior took Maya's breath away. Unlike the sleek, organic architecture of modern Caridian structures, the vault was angular and imposing, built of a material that resembled obsidian but radiated energy Maya could almost feel against her skin. "The Ancient Ones used different principles," Elara explained, noting Maya's awe. "They believed form should reflect function, without aesthetic compromise." They proceeded to the central chamber where a circular platform surrounded by towering pillars housed the control systems. As Elara began the activation sequence, her hands dancing over symbols that illuminated at her touch, an alarm blared through the complex. "We've been detected," General Thorne announced grimly, checking the security monitors. "Multiple Dracorian squads converging on our position. Estimate 15 minutes until breach." "Not enough time," James muttered, helping Maya connect their harmonizer to the ancient system. "The interface integration alone needs 20 minutes. Elara's expression hardened with resolve. "Then we'll make more time." She turned to General Thorne. "Take your specialists and create a diversion at the Western Passage. Make them think we're attempting to escape that way." "And the real defense?" the general asked. "Us," Maya said firmly, patting the weapon at her hip. "We've come too far to fail now." As the Caridians departed, James positioned himself at the entrance to the control room, setting up defensive measures. "Like Thermopylae," he remarked with grim humor. "Except we're defending against space lizards instead of Persians." Maya worked feverishly alongside Elara, their hands moving in perfect coordination as they integrated Earth technology with Caridian systems thousands of years old. The connection between them strengthened their focus, each anticipating the other's needs without words. There, Elara breathed as the final connection locked into place. Now we need to calibrate the resonance frequency. A violent explosion rocked the complex. Company's here. James called, firing his weapon down the corridor. And they brought friends. The minutes that followed blurred into a chaotic dance of work and defense. Maya calibrated while Elara programmed the targeting parameters. James held the entrance, his tactical genius maximizing their limited defenses. They were nearly finished when a blast caught James in the shoulder, spinning him backward. Maya rushed to his side while Elara continued the final sequence. Just a scratch, James grunted unconvincingly, blood seeping through his fingers. Finish the job. Maya helped him to cover before returning to Elara. Status? Almost there, Elara reported, her fingers moving with increased urgency as the sounds of combat grew closer. The shield will generate from here and expand outward. Once established, it will disrupt their neural link command systems. A massive explosion shook the chamber as the Dracorians breached the main door. Elara looked up in alarm. The power fluctuation, it's destabilizing the matrix. Maya assessed the situation in an instant. It needs to be stabilized manually. She pointed to a conduit running along the floor to a secondary control panel. From there. Their eyes met in silent understanding of what that meant. The secondary panel offered no protection from the shield's energy once activated. I'll do it, Elara began, but Maya was already moving. Your people need you, Maya called over her shoulder. Earth needs you. You're the only one who can lead both worlds through what comes next. Maya reached the panel and began the stabilization sequence, acutely aware of the Dracorian forces now pouring into the outer chamber, exchanging fire with James despite his injury. Ready, she shouted to Elara. Elara's face was a mask of anguish. Maya, the energy discharge. I know, Maya interrupted, managing a smile despite her fear. Just say you'll come find me after. I will find you, Elara promised, her voice breaking. In this life or the next. With that, she activated the sequence. The chamber filled with blinding light as energy surged through the ancient systems. Maya felt it coursing through her body as she held the stabilizer in place, every nerve ending alight with pain and power. Above them, around them, beyond them, the planetary shield bloomed into existence, a massive energy field expanding rapidly across Caridia's surface and into its atmosphere. The effect on the Dracorians was immediate. Their neural link systems overloaded, causing confusion and disarray throughout their forces. Maya felt herself falling as the energy wave passed, her consciousness dimming. The last thing she saw was Elara running toward her, moving as if through water, calling her name in a voice that seemed to come from across a vast distance. Then darkness. Maya awoke to unfamiliar sensations, a subtle humming beneath her, the scent of unknown flowers, and the feel of cool, silken sheets against her skin. She opened her eyes to find herself in a chamber with walls that seemed to shift colors with the changing light from tall windows. Welcome back, said a familiar voice. Elara sat beside the bed, her face showing signs of exhaustion but her eyes bright with joy. 3 days. You've been healing for 3 days. Maya tried to sit up, wincing at the stiffness in her muscles. The shield? Successful beyond our expectations, Elara confirmed, helping Maya to a sitting position. The Dracorian fleet was thrown into chaos. Without their neural link coordination, they were vulnerable to our counterattack. Those that could, retreated. Those that couldn't. She shrugged slightly. They will trouble no one again. James? Recovering well. Already advising our military on defensive improvements. Elara smiled. He's found quite an audience for his tactical lectures. Maya took Elara's hand, noticing a new pattern glowing beneath the princess's skin, one that seemed to pulse in rhythm with her own heartbeat. And us? What happens now? Ilara's expression grew serious. That depends on you. The Council has officially recognized Earth as an ally, and they've proposed establishing diplomatic relations. They need an ambassador, someone who understands both worlds. Are you offering me a job? Maya asked, a smile tugging at her lips. I'm offering you a life, Ilara corrected, her free hand rising to cup Maya's cheek. Here, with me. Or if you prefer, I would come to Earth. The connection between us, it isn't bound by location. Maya leaned into Ilara's touch. What about your royal duties? I will always be Caridia's queen, Ilara acknowledged. But rulers throughout history have managed personal happiness alongside duty. I see no reason to be an exception. Outside the window, Maya could see the twin suns of Caridia casting their unique light across a landscape of breathtaking beauty, a world saved, but forever changed by contact with humanity. Just as Earth would be changed by knowledge of Caridia. I think, Maya said slowly, drawing Ilara closer, that the best ambassador would be one with intimate knowledge of Caridian culture. Someone who could fully immerse herself in understanding your people. Ilara's lips curved into a smile as she recognized Maya's decision. Such dedication to diplomatic relations is commendable, she murmured, closing the distance between them. As they kissed, the pattern on Ilara's skin brightened, its glow spreading to where their bodies connected, a visible manifestation of a bond that transcended species, planets, and the vast emptiness of space. A connection that had begun with a desperate alien princess and a curious human scientist, and had grown into something neither world had ever seen before, a bridge between stars, built on understanding, sacrifice, and love. In the coming days, there would be challenges. Rebuilding Caridia. Introducing Earth to the wider galactic community. Preparing defenses against the Dracorians' inevitable return. But for now, in this moment, there was only this, two beings from different worlds, finding in each other the perfect reflection of themselves. Welcome home, Ilara whispered against Maya's lips. And for the first time since leaving Earth, Maya truly felt that she was